Besides, I didn't really have anyone else lined up.
Just to get them.
I'm honored, Jesse, really. Thank you. I've looked through the docs we found in dimensional research. That slide projector is extremely powerful. You were right to shut it down.
How do you feel about me taking over as director?
You act like it just happened. You've been director since we first met, remember? I'm still thrilled. Nothing's changed. Not for me. But the Bureau has changed. Trench and Darling are gone. Their knowledge, anything not written down, disappeared with them. They knew the Bureau better than anyone.
They're the Bureau's past, Emily. We won't operate like they did. We'll learn from their mistakes. We'll be better than they ever were. We won't ever be like them.
Okay, surprisingly enough, I wanted to find out what actually happened to Dr. Darling. And funnily enough, it's come up as one of the questions that you can ask Emily. So we're going to ask it. Let's find out what happened to Darling.
When the hiss got into my head, I saw some weird things. I think Darling even spoke to me. Does that make any sense to you?
Empirically, no, but phantom voices as well as hallucinatory states are not uncommon here. And considering the forces that Dr. Darling was working with, he could have been transferred to a different plane of consciousness, physically or otherwise.
And that doesn't upset you?
Oh, very. And the fact that he hid those forces from me, it's infuriating. But Darling's dream was always to look beyond our reality. This time he may have taken a step too far, but as long as his consciousness can perceive his surroundings, I'm sure he's loving it.
Maybe Darling was just trying to protect you from the darker side of his work.
Fuck that. I'm not a child. Like, don't just assume I'm going to consider something morally repugnant.
Which it all was.
Which it all was, of course.
See, for me, by the answer she gave, the answer is that he is still... He's a bit like an Alan Wake character at the moment, this Dr. Darling. We are going to find out what happened to him. I'm going to do a Google search in a second after we've looked at all these questions. But my guess is that he's trapped in a different dimension, like Emily's just explained, but he still has his conscience. He's either that or he's been taken over by the hiss. So we're going to come back to that in a second.
How was Dylan?
The same. I can't detect any hiss activity, but his physiology has certainly been altered by it. I can't tell if his brain activity is genuine or simply the aftermath of the hiss, like spasms. Dylan could wake up tomorrow for all I know. I really can't say.
Then I just have to wait for him. That's fair. He waited a long time for me.
Don't worry. We'll be monitoring him round the clock. If he wakes up, we'll be ready. I don't mean that in a hostile way, just... well, you know.
I hear you. My brother isn't exactly popular around here.
Can't blame him though.
I hope one day he'll have the chance to
I know it's
change
not
that.
him doing it, but it's hard to kind of get past that when the face of someone being the hiss. Depends obviously if he's killed your family members or something complicated like that. It's not obviously his fault because he's being controlled by the hiss. But at the same time, it's hard to kind of mask that fact as well. Okay, HRA failure.
So, there was a moment after Hedron died that I couldn't feel my powers. The hiss got into my head. Just for a moment.
So that explains the HRA outage. Before we knew what was happening, the hiss had us. They were in my head. I saw terrible things. I mean, I was about to go under forever when the hiss was pushed back. The HRAs had come back on. Dylan vanished afterwards, and we fought off the hiss that came after him. So if Hedron's death knocked out the HRAs, that means there must be a new local source for them to relay, which I'm guessing must be...
me.
You. Hedron is dead, assuming that word even applies to a resonant-based life form. But whatever it awakened in you, the power you call Polaris, is still active. Or at least, that's what my instruments are telling me.
I don't think we're ever gonna understand all of this. And I'm okay with that. I'm just glad you're here with me. That's good to know. Thanks, Emily. I found Dylan attacking the astral plane and the board. What was he hoping to accomplish?
Huh. Since they arrived, Hiss have been corrupting objects of power, which have an inherent link to the astral plane. Maybe their goal was to access the astral plane and the board itself.
That still doesn't tell us why.
His motives are a difficult thing to work out, but I have been digging through confidential files and noticed a strange gap in knowledge regarding the board. Looks like any data on them has either been deleted or was never gathered in the first place.
Then maybe it's time someone looked into that.
Maybe it is.
Okay, we are going to find out what happened to Darling. Okay, so that's actually really interesting. Because what it says here is Darlin's fate during the Hiss invasion is unknown. So he might actually not be dead, and he might actually not be possessed by the Hiss.
Well, I've got a bureau to run. See you soon.
Yes, ma'am, Director Faden.
Please, Emily. Not even as a joke.
So I'm guessing, like I've said, talk to the board. Okay. Okay. Let's see what this is all about. So I think we might be able to actually reach it
and talk to Arish about rationing.
Reminder, if you experience an unanticipated building shift, follow these simple steps. 1. Search the room for any
Jesse Faden, Director of the Federal Bureau of Control. Don't quite believe it. But you always knew where we were headed. Even if it was a dream, I feel Darling reached out to me through the hotline. I have a feeling he and Trent... Problem in the Foundation. That was Ahti's vacation spot. We need to check this out. Quiet. Trans-dimensional. This place really suits Ahti. So that etching is the door. Okay, let's try opening it.
Foundation. Okay.
No time for sightseeing. The board said this was an emergency. Looks like no one's been down here in a while. Crystals are kind of pretty. Emily would be having a field day down here.
My life's been a strange one. Certainly stranger than I'd like. But this place, it's something else. The floors crawl, the walls slither. It's a shifting pit. On the street, it's just another drab building standing there for anyone to see. But no one does. How do we miss it? Northmore. Acting director in Northmore now is on a train from Washington. He'll expect answers, which is why I'm making these tapes. Evidence that I'm at least trying to understand. Father searched his entire life for something like this, and we find it 1 week after he's buried. He always hated irony. Of course, Father, the great director, Ash, would have been the first man in. And look at me, his bookworm son, The supposed head of research who can't stop his legs from shaking long enough to step over the threshold. Been a strange one. Certainly stranger than I'd like. But this place, it's something else.
The Foundation. I only heard of the Foundation when I became head of operations. The very bottom of the oldest house. Director access only. Just the name alone is classified. Zachariah gave me a tour the day I was promoted. Said I should see it for myself, to understand. After that, I snuck down on my own from time to time to keep tabs on the place, and on them. But nothing ever changed down there. Not even the walls. It's solid, permanent, different from the rest of the house. Of course, they were always watching me. I never stayed long. I'm not stupid. I have to stop the hiss from finding this place. I'm the only one who can. Bottom of the oldest house. Stop the hiss.
Marshall? How was she on the hotline? Unless... she's dead. Jesus. She seemed like the kind of woman who could survive anything. Down here too.
Okay. Guessing we'll have to come back to that at some point. Cave paintings on art and time. At first I thought the cave paintings in the Foundation chronicled ancient humans' encounters with natural occurrences like weather, but it soon became clear they depicted events far outside the average human experience. Also, it seems I was wrong to assume the images are ancient. Radiocarbon dating suggests something impossible, that I've been down here longer than the paintings. That's absurd though. The style and medium clearly indicate a Paleolithic origin. I was ready to conclude that an ancient community of humans lived in or around the oldest house. Now with this information, I don't know what to think. Is one of our agents drawing these? ? Or is there someone down here with us? ? This place has a habit of skewing my results, so perhaps the data is corrupted, or perhaps some paintings were created at different times. The art does seem to chronicle not only the past, but also the present and possibly even the future. I see in them echoes of the board, some linear architecture, even what could be interpreted as a director. Are the paintings telling a story that's still being written, or being written? ? If so, who is writing it? ?
Pickaxes now?
Well, that was new, wasn't it? Hiss sharpened. Field research on Hiss entity. Hiss sharpened agent. Confidential. Summary: Hiss sharpened agents display the paratitularian ability to rapidly move short distances. This ability is unique in the fact that it is not associated with any known object of power. However, we should not discount the possibility that this ability is an object variation. For example, abrupt physical relocation (APR) could potentially be a variant of the jukebox's effect. Other explanations of the Hiss sharpened ability currently include A. Momentary time manipulation, B. Brief increase in physical speed, C. Inhibiting the witness's sense of sight. If we do accept that the Hiss sharpened ability is not connected to a known object of power, then the Hiss are either manifesting unique paranatural abilities, or there are objects in the house that we aren't aware of. Either way, the Hiss are continuing to develop new strains of corruption, and that is cause for concern. Refer to file something for full report. Relocation order. Tom, you missed the good news. I'm sure the official memo will go out soon, but Northmore called an all hands at the crossroads to announce we're finally moving out of this hellhole and up into the house proper. Bureau brass apparently solved the moving walls problem, or at least figured out a way to pinpoint where and when they happen. All I know is going up means goodbye darkness, goodbye weird lunches with that ex-Nazi scientist, and goodbye pissing in the pits. In brackets, I know that was you, Barry. Northmore's ordering the Foundation sealed as soon as we can haul our stuff out and somehow convince Ash to come with us. He's the only one kicking up a fuss. This is long overdue. We've lost 11 men and damn near $10,000 in supplies moving between the entrance and the Foundation. And for what? Question mark. Research? Question mark. Ash is batty if he thinks we want to stay here and sift through more sand for him. It's just rusted iron flakes anyway. Did you know that? Question mark. We were breathing that shit in. Okay. So I'm assuming we're going this way. Beware of dangerous toxic geysers. Foundation accident. Mr. Wilder, I have some bad news. You remember that Robert Ricardo fellow we brought in as a special consultant to the map Lower Caves? Question mark. Well, today he found a chamber with weird eyes covering every inch of the walls and a strange black pillar in the center. Kinda looks like the one at the crossroads, but smaller. We had a bureau member shadowing him, but whatever happened in there did a number on our guest. The docs are taking a look, but it's pretty clear Mr. Adventure's exploring days are over. I know we were careful to limit this guy's exposure to the non-ordinary. In brackets, drugged him and carrying him through the upper floor was a real hoot, by the way. But we really need to reevaluate our policies on external contractors. Honestly, we'd be better off forming a special division trained in repelling and orienteering that subjecting more outsiders to the shit we deal with. They almost end up dead or loony. Marcus.
The astral plane is cutting into our dimension. What if this happens in the upper floors? It'll destroy the bureau.
Astral copy. Field research on astral entity. Astral copy. Confidential. Summary: with the astral plane now physically accessible, a torrent of new information is being collected on the entities known as astral copies. The copies' bodies are composed of a dense stone-like material that is both resilient under controlled circumstances and brittle when struck with significant force. In brackets, see report 811-1633 for full composition analysis. Whether the astral copies possess individual consciousness or are directed by a higher intelligence, such as the board, remains unknown. However, their shared aggression seems to indicate a unified goal. Director Faden's encounters with these entities when binding objects of power in the astral plane indicate they paratitularians to practice on. Some have been equipped with Bureau weaponry, though it seems unlikely they were armed by our personnel. It is important to note that they appear immune to his corruption. Refer to file something for full report. Alright.
I wish I'd brought Emily with me. I could really use my head of research right about now. Marshall? Marshall! You're alive!
No, she's not. I got a feeling we're going to be fighting us very soon.
Wait! It's Jesse! The director! Whoa. This
Crossroads.
place is huge. Marshall? Can you hear me? She was on the hotline, so that person couldn't have been Marshall, right? One problem at a time. Let's see what's going on with that pillar first.
Alright, let's have a look at the chargeability.
It's been 5 days since we first entered the building. Traversing the interior is dangerous due to the shifting, but we did manage to find a lower cavern that seems structurally predictable, which is a scientific way of saying its walls won't crush us in our sleep. Northmore even made a discovery. A pistol, placed on a stone pedestal in front of that strange ebony pillar. Seems like something out of a storybook, except the heroes usually find swords, not handguns. But it is the perfect lure for someone like him. Hours after finding this weapon, Northmore cornered me to spout some nonsense about how the board had made him the director. He ranted about the title being meaningless before now, calling Father and all other previous directors shams, frauds, and worse. I think this place is worse for Northmore than it is for me. Strangest thing? There was no pedestal in front of that pillar a day ago. This building has swallowed a dozen of my men, and now it's handing out presents? Is it playing some sort of game? If it is, we're most certainly losing. Oh, we don't even know the rules. 5 days since we first entered the building. Traversing the interior is dangerous.
Ley lines on ley lines and their energies. For all my research into the oldest house's ley lines, I still don't understand why they converge here at the base of this pillar. I suppose the simplest reason is that they have to converge somewhere. Occam's razor and all that, but that seems wrong. The esoteric world abhors coincidence. So what is the true relationship between this pillar and the ley lines? Question mark. Does it act as a magnet attracting them polar north, or is the pillar a product of their focused energies? A sprout nourished by the constant flow of the oldest house's power? Question mark. Well, they were all question marks, but I don't want to repeat myself with like 5 question marks. Perhaps clarifying that power would provide some insight. However, we currently have no means of measuring or quantifying it. Given time, it may become possible to collect and even harness this energy. On that note, Northmore is bringing in the much lauded Dr. Gustav Wagner from headquarters in DC to aid my research. I suppose that this is his way of saying he doesn't trust me to work unsupervised. Let's just hope Dr. Wagner is as smart as his dearly departed Führer once believed him to be. Foundation pillar. On the nature of the pillar. The pillar found in the crossroads is best described as an onyx spike that protrudes from the cave floor like an imposing stalagmite. Despite its aggressive silhouette, the structure has an undeniable allure. Freud would certainly have something to say about the pillar's overly erect nature, but I'm more drawn to Whitmore's essay on dynamic layers. Structures within structures, the fractal mirror in every being. Given its significant location, I believe the pillar is either the very heart of the oldest house or an intrusion within that heart. Or perhaps it's like the husk of a seed from which the oldest house sprouted. Trottier wrote that great architecture isn't built, it grows. But then why does a pillar look so different from the rest of this place's concrete walls and rocky caverns? Question mark. It's easier to see it as an anomaly, a buried artifact, a foreign body, a demonic phallus. I wonder if this pillar is any more welcome here than we are. Explore the astral plane challenge.
So I can only choose one? I thought I was done with these tests. Okay, let's review. This broken pillar is called the nail. It was broken by something, and now the astral plane is bleeding into the foundation, which will destroy the oldest house, the bureau, and everyone inside. I need to find 4 locks, or keys, or whatever, to stop that from happening. But I'm the director. I've handled worse. This should be simple. Ish. You with me?
Warehouse path. Complete the ritual in the warehouse. Warehouse. History of the oldest house. On the history of the oldest house. The oldest house has revealed much to me during my months in the Foundation, but many questions remain. Primarily the tree etchings bewilder me. What is their significance? Question mark. If the house has changed shape over its lifetime as I've theorized, then was a tree its first form? Question mark. I sent a team to the Schwartzman building in search of pre-settlement accounts of Manhattan Island. From those I discovered a single relevant line, and there I found a tree not known to me. The devil twisted within its bark. That line, taken with the fact that certain American cultures believe some trees would offer wisdom and guidance, is indeed interesting. However, it's hardly firm evidence, and though I am now bound to the oldest house, I remain a man of science. Of course, there are numerous ancient beliefs regarding trees. Yggdrasil, the tree of knowledge, Yax Emix Che. Some cultures offered blood sacrifices to trees, while others claim trees endowed chosen individuals with inhuman powers. Do New York City's many murders act as sacrifice for the oldest house? ? Does the house have a chosen champion? ? Is it me? ? Pyramidic geometry. On the pyramid and geometry, I've been going through my library researching pyramids and triangles. If that shape does relate to the board as Northmore says, then perhaps our predecessors in the occult can offer some insight through their geometric knowledge. In esotericism, the triangle is closely associated with the Holy Trinity and other three-part concepts: past, present, future, mind, body, spirit. Interestingly, the term board also implies multiple parts. Upright triangles in Judeo-Christian imagery indicate ascent into the rationale/divine realm. Inverted, it signifies a descent into the corporal/human. Naturally, the ascent is masculine and the fall is feminine. Adam and Eve. That's just a bit of old word patriarchy. It's 1964 now, and we're well past that silliness. Considering the above, what does the inverted triangle tell us about the board? They're clearly not corporeal or human. Perhaps they wish to be, or they once were. All ? The likeliest answer is simply that theological imagery cannot help us define alien entities. But still, the pyramid seems significant. Shapes of power, and clearly so does the board.
Is this a Bureau ID badge? Looks so old. Hope will definitely want to see this.
Northmore insists on the name. I'm too tired to ask why. I'm not sleeping well. Per orders, me and my research team have established a permanent examination lab in the Foundation. I basically live down here now, like the obedient head of research Father raised me to be. I spend my days investigating that odd pillar where Northmore found the handgun. The work was half-hearted at first, I admit. But then I discovered numerous non-Aristotelian energy channels converging at its base. Ley lines, dragon roads, Hyligalinian, call them what you want. But this pillar is the crossroads. I started building something. Equal parts talisman and technology. An array that can impose order on the ley junctions. That's the idea, at least. You'll see when I'm done. I prefer to work away from the pillar. I'm not the only one who feels like that thing has eyes. Now spent inside what we're calling the oldest house. I'm too tired to ask why. Her orders. Me and my research team have established a permanent examination lab in the Foundation. I basically live down here now, like the obedient head of research father. I spend my days investigating that odd pillar where Northmore found the handgun. The world was wanted in I prefer to work away from the pillar. I'm not the only one who feels like that thing has eyes.
Power cores. On the invention of the power cores. After numerous attempts, I finally found a way to intercept and contain the ambient energy of the ley lines in a kind of non-Aristotelian battery I've dubbed the power core. I admit it was difficult capturing an energy I can barely measure, much less interact with. Luckily, it seems that the porous stone of the Foundation's caverns possesses such conductive qualities. Using stone flakes and copper wire, my power cores collect significant power. My early prototypes collected too much, in fact, but I've since reinforced the container. We don't know yet the repercussions of tapping into this power field. As a precaution, these devices should not be taken outside of the house. Ideally, the Bureau should no longer need to rely on typical energy sources. It's my greatest feat of engineering yet. I've always had an interest in invention. I like the creativity that it allowed, set within the firm boundaries of logic and physics. Father never approved calling it a mundane science. With that in mind, I dedicate this invention to Theodore Ashe Sr. May he scowl in peace.
Entry day plus 51. Northmore has ordered an all-hands search for objects similar to the service weapon. He claims there are more in the house, though I don't see how he's so certain. He's been strange lately, talking about joining greater causes and frequently mentioning a pyramid. After pressing him, he finally described this pyramid to me. Inverted, black, mathematically perfect. Oddly enough, Adam and the other id have shown me numerous inverted triangles painted on the cave walls. Surely there's a connection, but I don't see it yet. As far as occult symbols go, triangles are by no means rare. Flood, Levi, Kroll, they used that shape like it was going out of fashion. Standing on their base, triangles signify stability and strength. Inverted on their points, they represent conflict and stagnation. Of course, the orientation is just a matter of perspective. Looking at the pyramid from below gives you one, from above another. Northmore says he looks up at the inverted pyramid. I have to wonder, is anyone standing over it, looking down? 51. Northmore has ordered an all-hands search for objects. Well, I don't see how he's so certain. He's strange lately, talking about joining greater causes. He mentioned a pyramid. After pressing him, he finally described this pyramid. Black, mathematically.
damn gun. I've served under 2 directors. 3 now, I suppose. Trench and I worked our way up together. We made it through the tough cases, the bad days, the casualties. He was the epitome of a good agent. Smart, decisive, selfless. And he picked up that damn gun. Becoming director is a formal process overseen by the board. Lots of ritual and mystery. After that, key staff provide detailed briefs on all classified matters, past and present. But with Faden, well, there's no protocol for field promotion. The girl's smart, has a good head on her shoulders. I'm trusting her to handle the hiss upstairs, while I hold them off here. All this shit with the nail, the board, I'm not sure she's ready. Besides, I work better alone. Not sure she's ready.
I'm here, aren't I? I saved the Bureau once, and I'll do it again.
Meteor Hill Supplement. Meteor Hill AWE 3. Note, per archival mandates 8A, this document has been edited to meet current administrative standards. Certain terminology may be out of date. Details: the retrieved material was subjected to Fellstrom's array, configuration 74B, but the tests were halted as the matter began to physically elude the equipment. Attempts to constrain the element were made, but under further stress it became vaporous. The researchers suffered corrosive injuries prior to their deaths. The child victims at Meteor Hill recounted the material enveloping them in a pleasant manner upon making contact, but when discovered they were something and screaming. Bodily changes were perceived immediately, in brackets deformities, loss of pigment in the skin and hair, and mental symptoms surfaced in subsequent examinations, in brackets confusion, heightened aggression. The Department of Public Knowledge and Diversions gave statements claiming the incident was caused by debris from poorly made Russian satellites, which the public accepted with no complications. The children were sent to the Bureau's recuperation facility in somewhere to receive help away from society.
Reflection trapped in darkness of the coffee I nurse. The rain turned the lights of the city into a mosaic on the windows. The day's paper lists all the things wrong in the world. The list grows longer by the day. The difference between whiskey, no other difference. The alarm goes off at 5 a.m. It feels like I just closed my eyes. It's dark. I sit up on the bed in the gloom. I get up, I shower. The driver waits for me downstairs, takes me to the oldest house. An old man stares at me in the car window. It's raining. It's dark. Late at night, he brings me back here. It's not a home. It's a room where I sleep in, waking up just as tired as I was before going to bed. Endless grind.
Give me a second, guys. Okay. All right. Foundation etchings on the 4 etchings. My explorations of the Foundation have resulted in yet another mystery. A fascinating series of etchings on large stone tables, or tablets. The tablets themselves are likely not native to the Foundation, seeing as they're slabs of sedimentary stone quite different from the cave's categorization, defying rock. Their placement and form are also too intentional to be naturally occurring. But who braved this place to carry them in, and for what purpose? ? I discovered a 5-point macro entanglement between the tablets, with the pillar at its center. These links seem to extend beyond our level of consciousness. To some astral realm I can't detect. Is Northmore's board somehow tied to all this? ? The etchings on these tablets are similarly curious. They differ from the cave paintings in style and technique, so are clearly not of the same origin. Are they the visual narration of some event? ? Or do they indicate intent, a wish, a plan? ? They only seem to consist of a tree and the pillar, but the sizes of either are inconsistent. What does that signify? ? I'm missing key pieces of this puzzle, and it's unlikely I'll ever find them. Oh, that's me. Warehouse. All right.
Another etching, like the one I used to get in here.
Fuck off. I shot you in the head before you even hit me.
lock/key the board told me about? Just doing my job. First one down, Director Faden. It's got this covered.
All right.
Give us a call on the radios if you need help out there, Director.
I don't know where I'm meant to go from there, to be honest. So because we haven't really crouched in the game, okay. I wonder why we're not able to go through this. Oh, fucking course. I had a feeling that would happen. Okay. Okay. I had no idea how I was reaching the base camp, but we now have an idea. Just sometimes, guys, you're just never gonna really know. Like, certain things, you know, you don't have magic powers to know everything. Like, okay.
This area looks newer. Is it from the upper floors? There's something behind this barrier.
Trophian surge of power. Shift account part 1, Federal Bureau of Control. To whoever finds this, I am Containment Processes Designer Gene Gibbs, and I'm writing this document. I'm writing this to document the largest building shift to ever occur. Here are the facts. A considerably large section of the containment sector, including the processes and protocols offices, our research facilities, and a fair chunk of the firebreak has been yanked down to a chasm that reaches far below lobby level. I think ? It was a violent shift, and I regret to report several casualties. Injuries were sustained by all, but many others, myself included, are still mobile. We've set up a base camp and started triaging. There are little supplies. We explored our surroundings and found caverns of all things. Maybe we're in some kind of cave threshold, like the quarry? ? Wherever we are, we're not the first. There were some rusty power cores, old light signs, infrastructure. What was this area used for? ? Why did they seal it off? Why have we never heard of it? ? More importantly, how are we going to get out? ? Kiev Summary, Kiev AWE 37. Event Summary. A series of reverberating sounds observed in downtown Kiev with no clear point of origin. The event was witnessed by the city's general public. Mental and physical symptoms were reported